Hi guys, it's Miss Jardine, as you know. So if you're struggling with your homework at all and want to look at what we did this morning in class, so we started multiplying decimals. So I'm going to start with a real simple problem. And let's say that I go to the store and I find an item that costs $1.50. And I want to purchase 3 of those. So I could use repeated addition and add $1.50 plus $1.50 plus $1.50. But now that we're in 6th grade, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to multiply $1.50 times 3. So we should know how to do this. We're going to do 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 plus 1 is 4. So now that we've done the math, we need to think about where does my decimal go in my final answer. So last week we practiced adding and subtracting decimals, and we know the decimal drops straight down. That is not the case with multiplying. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back up to the problem, and you're going to circle the numbers that were behind the decimal in the problem. And then you're going to count them. I had 2 numbers behind the decimal in my problem, so I have to have 2 numbers behind the decimal in my answer. So now I know that my decimal has to go right here. Now, when you write your final answer, you don't want all the circles and the marks with your numbers. So then you're just going to come underneath it or beside it. You're going to write your final answer would be $4.50. So what happens if you have a decimal times a decimal? So let's say that I have 25 hundredths times 8 tenths. Now while you're multiplying, you're just going to ignore the decimals for now. You're going to do the math just like you've been doing for a few years in elementary. So we're going to start with the 8. We're going to do 8 times 5 is 40. We're going to put down the 0 and carry the 4. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 4 is 20. Okay, so I've done my computation. Now I need to figure out where the decimal is going to go in my answer. So again, you're going to go back up to your work. You're going to circle all of the numbers that were behind the decimal in the problem. I count 1, 2, 3 numbers. That means I'm going to start over here on the right side of my problem, and I'm going to take my decimal in 1, 2, 3 places. So my decimal is going to be sitting right here. Now one thing we can talk about is remember when you have the zeros after the last digit in your decimal, you can actually drop those zeros. You don't have to include those in your final answer. So you could simply write your answer as 2 tenths. Now I would also accept the answer 200 thousandths. But because those zeros are not holding a place and they have no value, you don't have to include them with your final answer. So let's try one more. Let's say we have 2 and 38 hundredths times 6 tenths. Again, you're going to ignore the decimals right now. Just pretend like they're not even there. Do the computation with your multiplication just like you know how. So we're going to start by multiplying the 6 times the 8. 6 times 8 is 48. We're going to put down the 8 and carry the 4. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 4 is 22. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So now that I've done my computation, sorry about that. Now that I've done my computation, it's time to think about where do I need to place that decimal in my final answer. So again, you're going to go back up to your work. You're going to circle all of the numbers that were sitting behind the decimal in the problem. Notice I'm not circling the 2 because it's in front of the decimal. We only circle the numbers that were behind the decimal. So I counted 1, 2, 3 numbers. So I'm going to start over here on the right side of my problem, and I'm going to have to go in 1, 2, 3 places. So my decimal is going to be placed right here. Now again, when you're writing your final answer, you want to write it nice and neat. So we're going to write our final answer as 1 and 428 thousandths. All right, good luck. So if you're still having trouble, I will help you tomorrow.